What's up, guys? So, if you've been listening to the podcast and watching the YouTube videos, then last week you probably noticed that things were a little bit different. They may have sounded a little bit different, but change is good, and the message was well received. So, I wanted to build on that, and I wanted to talk about some more things that were on my mind after I got off a long shift today. Well, before we talk about today's topics, I just want to make a quick announcement. Some of you guys might already be aware that we are changing our name from PA Boards to Medgeeks. And the reason why we're doing that is because technically we're not the physician assistant boards, we're not on the NCCPA board members, and we don't want to confuse you guys or mislead you guys ever in any way. So we're changing it from PA boards to Medgeeks. And I'm personally super excited about the name change. I've got my glasses on today in honor of the name change, and I just am happy to embrace my inner geek, happy to embrace my inner nerd, and honestly, I think it's a well-fitting name because when I'm not practicing medicine, I'm probably reading about it, and if I'm not reading about it, I'm probably talking about it. So we're changing our name from PA Boards to MedGeeks, and I'm really excited about that. So another thing that I wanted to talk about with you guys today is that we never ever need to downplay the severity of any illness in our patients. And you're probably thinking to yourself, no, Gray, I never downplay the severity of any illness in my patients. I think about all my patients critically and I take everything into consideration, and I never downplay the severity of any of my illnesses to my patients. Well, I'm telling you guys right now that we all do this, and I want you guys to hear my story so you can appreciate why we shouldn't do this and learn from, I guess, my mistake in a sense. So, the first time that I ever, I guess, downplayed the severity of an illness was about a year ago. I had a severely septic female. She was 80 years old. She just had a cholecystectomy for an emergent procedure for cholecystitis, and she was discharged home, and she wasn't doing that well. She just kept having nausea and abdominal pain, and the surgeons kept telling her, oh, this is normal, it'll get better, take some Zofran. Well, finally she ends up in my ER, and she didn't look so good. Well, we follow the septic protocol, and then we get the labs back, and her lactic acid was 17. Well, her blood pressures were teetering with a mean arterial pressure of about 60 to 64, and she was about 2 to 3 liters in, and my attending and I had been involved with this patient together. We had been talking about her, and he knew that a central line was coming. Well, I knew how sick she was. Her family members did not know how sick she was because they don't see septic patients all the time. They don't see people with illnesses every single day, and they have no idea how to put their mother or their family member on the spectrum of an illness. So while I knew how sick this patient was, the patient's children finally get to the ER about an hour and 15 minutes later, and they asked me, how's she doing? And I told them that she has a bacterial infection in her bloodstream, and the CT scan of her abdomen shows that there's an abscess collection, and she's very ill, will need a procedure. Well, they said, is she going to make it? And I said, she's doing okay right now. She's gotten her antibiotics in the first hour. We need to put a drain in her, and I think she's going to be okay. Well, looking back, I have to think that I downplayed the severity of her illness because what went on to happen in the next hour was she got a central line, she coded, she got intubated, she was stabilized, put in the ICU, and then ultimately it was too much for her heart. She had a heart attack and passed away. And I think to myself, if I would have been maybe more straightforward or told them that there's a great chance that she won't make it through tonight, maybe their family members, maybe other people could have gotten there to say goodbye. Maybe she could have said goodbye to somebody else. So why do we do that? Well, I guess part of us wants them to know we're taking great care of their family members. I had done everything in my power to help my patient in that scenario. My physician had done everything in his power to assist me, lead, put in a central line, and do our best for that patient. But I often think, is there anything else that I could have done? Could I have said something differently to the family that would have made a difference? Could I have put in a central line earlier? Could I have demanded that she was taken to the OR if I would have known that she would have had an abscess in her abdomen and they could have drained it immediately? I often think, if I could have done something better, would it have made a difference? Ultimately, reviewing the case with the attending that was on, with other attendings, there was no alternate outcome for her, and I truly believe that. But I do believe there is another outcome that could have happened. I could have told the family that she was a little bit more critically ill, or that there was a great chance that she could not make it through tonight, or that she's severely ill and we're doing the best that we can, but I cannot promise that she'll make it through tonight, and we just need to look at the next 12 hours at a time. So never downplay the severity of your illness. Now, that was the first time, that was my first lesson, and I still take that with me today. And this week, I found myself with another very sick patient, and the family asked me once again, how's he doing? And this time I said, he's not doing well. He hasn't improved. We are going to have to get him up to the ICU. His heart is just failing. It's working about 15% of what it should. And he's going to have a challenging night. And I think you should call other family members, and you should all sleep with him and come to the hospital. And I think they really appreciated that, because ultimately he didn't make it either. And you often learn from talking with families, and I've listened to a lot of physicians after they're done with the code, and it does take some time, guys, to say the right things, but you never ever need to downplay the severity of an illness. So this week, once again, I had a patient in status epilepticus, and he had seized 10 times, 6 times prior to arrival, and 4 times in the ER. He had gotten some Ativan, he had gotten some phenytoin, he had gotten some fosphenytoin, and I gave him some Keppra. And his seizures had stopped. And his family members had come in, and they asked me, is he going to wake up? And I told them that he was in status epilepticus. He's had 10 seizures, and his brain may be severely damaged. There's no telling if he had an hypoxic brain injury, or if he will recover, or if we'll have any deficits when he wakes up. But we just need to stay positive right now and hope that he comes back to his baseline. So I think it's only human to want to let the families know that we're doing a great job at taking care of them and try and comfort them. But we need to let them know medically what their chances are of having a positive outcome from whatever illness they have, because, like I said, they may only have 1 day, 2 days left here before their illness takes them, and I can't tell you enough how that makes a difference, especially with recently losing my father, that a day, 2 days, 3 days in the ICU, that can make a huge difference. And while you may not be able to save the patient, you can give them 3 days, or you can give them a day, or you can let them call their family and come see them. So never downplay the severity of any illness. And if you're a student out there listening, you need to study like your patient's lives depend on it. Because ultimately, one day you're going to get out there, and they will. If you're a clinician out there listening, if you're not sure about something, look it up. Ask your attending, and then go home, read about it, and become an expert. After you become an expert, the next day go talk to your attending, or if it takes you a little while longer to become an expert, then talk to your attending, bring it up, solidify that knowledge, so then you can teach others, because it's all about sharing knowledge, gaining knowledge, growing as a clinician. That's what we want to do here at Medgeeks. So if you're liking these videos, let me know. I've got some good feedback from the first videos, as I've said before, and we can surely do some more videos of me in the ER, reducing shoulders, maybe some abscess and drainages, some good old suturing, you name it. Let me know what you guys want to see. Do you want me to lecture a little while more on some more academic topics? Let me know. If you have any questions or comments or ideas and you want to send me an email, as always, please email me at gray@physicianassistantboards.com. That's GRAY at physicianassistantboards. Until next time.